just checked out Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, a 2-player dexterity game based on the movie. Yeah, that sounds weird. Let's talk about it. What does that even mean, Bowers Game? Ahoy there, YouTube! We're back again today for another Thoughts from the Corner with my good friend Ronnie. And we're talking about Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, the game from Funko Games. This is for 2 players, ages 12 plus, and this is a very simple, light game in which one player is going to take the Dell deck, and one player is going to take the Neil deck. You're going to shuffle up these 2 decks of cards right here, which are very interesting decks of cards, and then you're going to flip over 2 of these cards. They're going to go together like, I think it's like this, it's like this, I do believe. And then each round, looks like it's good. And then each round, you're going to look up here. So in this instance, we're going to have 6 cards each, because there's a little 6 there. And then the 6 cards are going to go face down in front of us. And we are allowed to talk because of that symbol right there. Sometimes it will say you're not allowed to talk. And then we have special rules that we're going to have to follow for this particular game. In this one, we're going to spin this shower curtain, which is thematic to the game, and we're going to do various different stuff. So pretty much the gist is every single time, you put it really well, there's going to be a mini game that you're going to play, and the mini games are these 2 cards combined, and there's, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, there's like 8 in each deck. So there's a good variability combination of things you're going to get. Now, what you have to do in this is you have to try and get a certain number of miles together. So in this one, down here at the bottom, we have to get 300 miles together. You're going to keep track of that on this little handy-dandy outside of the thing. And pretty much what's going to happen is both players are going to play 1 card. That's a terrible example. And if you follow the restrictions correctly, you're going to get this many number of miles closer to your destination. You have to reach your destination right on. So for instance, if we already had 225 miles and then we got this 100, we would fail this, which means, oh no, the car is on fire. And if the car goes on fire one more time, you immediately lose the game. So pretty much you're trying to complete 3 challenges before you fail 2 challenges. And these challenges are going to have you sliding this ring across, doing this stuff. I saw one where you're going to like flip it in the air and do a bunch of various different stuff like that. There's also some cards mixed into there, which will like duplicate other cards. I feel like I did a decent job explaining. It's a very interesting, different game. What did you think about it?
I feel like it's a really hard game to explain without seeing it.
Yes, it is.
I would not be surprised if you out there are like, what in the hell did he just say?
Well, I'll give you an example. So, for instance, on this one, where we have 6, we're each going to have 6 cards in front of us. And now, what we would do is we would spin this as fast as we can on the table. Now, as long as it's still spinning on the table, I could look at the 6 face-down cards in front of me and then hopefully place them down in front of me. But oh no, the time is up. And now I just put it here. And now we both did that. We're both going to play 1 card at a time in the middle. So here's 1 card. Here's the other card. It'd be 50 and 75. So now we're going to look at this restriction card. To count towards your goal, each set must have at least 1 card with a 0 in its mileage. So this one would count because there's a 0 in the 50, so we get 125 miles closer. But every single time you're going to have different rules and different restrictions on how you play the game. It's a weird abstract strategy game. It's over before you know it. We played it twice, and I think it was like 20 minutes.
Yeah, and that was like learning the game.
Yes, this is a very light 2-player dexterity game. Played it twice. What's your thoughts on Planes, Trains, and Automobiles?
It's an interesting game. I do feel like it's best described as a series of mini games. And so you're trying to win, I think it's 4 of these mini games.
3. You got to win 3 before you fail twice.
So you don't have to win because there was 4 cities. You don't have to win all 4. You just got to win 3 of the 4.
Oh yeah, actually you're right. You do have to win 4. I lied.
Okay.
We just got our ass kicked. It's so close.
Yeah, we didn't beat the game any of the time. But yeah, there's a lot of dexterity in it. And dexterity, and you either have to be able to spin this. And the texture of your table kind of matters.
It does.
You do have to spin this, like I just did, and the amount of time that it's spinning, that's your timer. When that stops spinning, then your timer's up. So that's probably the most unique timer I've ever heard of for a game.
I've seen it done a couple other times, mostly in children's games.
Okay, yeah, I haven't seen those games.
Yeah, they're lost to time for the most part. So you're beating around the bush. Did you enjoy the game?
It was an interesting experience.
Keep saying that.
It was an interesting. I mean, that's. I mean, I wouldn't buy the game. But like, I'm glad I played it once or twice. We played it twice. I probably even played another 2 times. I wouldn't buy it.
Okay, fair enough.
It's interesting. It's fun to check out.
Yes.
But yeah, after 2 to 4, maybe 5 times, I'll be done with this forever.
I agree with that. I feel like, once again, if you exclusively play 2 players, I think this is a solid 2-player filler weight game. You could easily take this to a restaurant or something like that if you're one of those people who plays games on dates. I envy you. Done a couple times with my wife. But I feel like that could go over well. I do like the fact that they use the inside of the box to keep track of the score with the little token. It's nice. They tried to be thematic with like the shower curtain. You're flipping it. There's a little bit of the theme from the game because the artwork on the cards, but I wouldn't call it a thematic game by any stretch of the imagination. It's just you don't come across 2-player cooperative dexterity games that are filler weight too terribly often, and I think Ronnie hit it on the head. It's an interesting game. I don't know if I'd say it's a good game.
Well, like I couldn't see myself playing this more than a handful of times ever. I think I've.
What about with your kids one day? I feel like kids could really get in on this because it's at its core, it's simple enough to understand because you're essentially going to have one rules restriction every single time, and they're all pretty simple. I think
maybe.
I think as a family weight game, this gets a bump up. I think. Yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting game.
Yeah, I feel like it's worth checking out, but I just
not paying for.
Yeah,
steal the game. And that's honestly the case. So Funko has a 2-player game line. If you weren't familiar, there's like a whole boatload of over there, and most of the time they fall in the good category. And I feel like that's where this one is going to peak out. I don't feel like most people are going to think this is great unless your kid is a diehard fan of the movie. I don't know.
I haven't seen the movie, so I have no idea.
It's a hard sell. Like, even if you had, I don't feel like this is going to be like, oh my gosh, I feel like we're trying to get Chicago. And it's okay. It's good. I'd say okay to good. I think that's where most people are going to follow this. Would you agree with that? Okay to good? Okay. If I was going to give it to you for free, would you not? Even with the small box size? Okay. For me personally, I bought it to make a how to play video on it and also how to do a review on it. Might even do a gameplay at some point. I enjoyed it. I'm going to play it with my 9-year-old. I think I will get some legs out of this with my 9-year-old. And if you're looking at it purely as a family experience, I think you're going to enjoy it. A filler weight, 2-player dexterity game. They don't come along too often. Doesn't take up much room on your shelf. I don't think it's great, but I think it's good. And at the end of the day, I think I'm done talking about it. I'd honestly rather watch the movie.
The movie's probably a lot longer, though, than playing this a few times.
Well, the movie's really good, I think. I remember it a long time ago. But there you go. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, the game. It's interesting. I think Ronnie hit on the head. It's interesting. Okay, here's my question. What do you think this game would need to bump it up a level? I think more cards would be great.
Certainly more cards. I think there's only 7 or 8 of each.
Now, granted, you're going to mix it up every time. You're going to have a different combination, but I definitely think more would have been better.
And that's a big factor in my number of games that I would ever play of this. At least ideally, I guess if I'm introducing this to more people, I guess I would play it more. But like, if there were more cards, that would make me want to play it more to like actually see all of the mini games.
Yeah, I agree with you completely there. I definitely think more cards would be helpful here. I don't feel like there's a bad amount of cards, but I don't feel like there's a good amount of cards. I'm done talking about it. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. You're probably not going to get it. But if you do,
like and subscribe.
Yeah, that's the thing. And as always, if you enjoy the content, like and subscribe. And Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
And while you're at it, like and subscribe.
Actually, here you go. In the comments below, let me know what's your favorite 2-player dexterity game. That's a tough one.
I don't play a whole lot of dexterity games.
Yeah, I'm going to go with beer pong.
It's a 2-player game?
I think my first top games of all... Yeah, I mean, you can play 2 players. Yeah, you just drink more. Yeah, so you got nothing?
You don't have friends, I guess.
I guess that means your favorite 2-player dexterity
no, it'd be
game.
Dungeon Fighter, I guess.
Ooh, Dungeon Fighter's good.
Yeah, I can't really name a whole lot of dexterity games, but I do like Dungeon Fighter. That's a fun game.
It is. Well, let me know in the comments below what's your favorite two-player dexterity game. And as always, thanks for your time, YouTube. This video is brought to you by all of my amazing Patreon supporters, and I would love it if you would join their ranks and have your name immortalized in the end of many of my videos for the end of time. But consider for only $1 a month, and as always, thanks for stopping by.